This is International Paper Q3 2021 earnings call summary. And let me first say this. It's very easy to throw rocks from the sideline. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. But that won't stop the sheep from baying. You know? Going through this earnings call was a bit upsetting. First and foremost, their revenue was up 11% year over year, which is good, right? Especially when you're talking about comparing this year to last year, COVID time, right? So that's good, but they did miss the consensus estimate, and so that simply means that they didn't make as much money as the analysts expected them to make. I don't think they made as much money as they themselves, International Paper, expected to make. Supply constraints was the big excuse for this reason. And again, we see it across the board. Everyone talks about supply. Everyone talks about trucking. Everyone talks about the shipping ports. And so International Paper said that not only did they not have boxes available to sell to customers, but they were also very late in getting their own products shipped to their own locations. So you have something that's coming from a paper mill, then going to some sort of processing facility to make boxes or to make cellulose fiber that goes inside the Pampers, and then from there it has to get shipped out to the customer. And they're saying that that time has been greatly increased. My concern, of course, is that this is the one company so far in our portfolio that's been affected the most by these shipping constraints. Not only that, but they discussed having to pay a lot more for fuel. And that really bothers me because it's like we've been in this now for almost 2 years. It's been almost 2 years. Like, you saw this coming. There's like, why don't you have something in place to either correct the shipping, or at least have some sort of arbitrage on the fuel? Granted, gas prices are up. We all know this. But it's not like you guys started using gas yesterday, right? I mean, that's always been an input cost. And so the fact that that's not being managed is really disconcerting. Same thing with the tax rate. They said their tax rate is something like 18%, which is almost double what I've seen from all of the other companies thus far. Now, granted, we're talking about two different types of businesses, but again, like I said before, a number is a number. And a lot of that comes down to management, right? You want to position your company and structure your business in such a way to reduce your tax burden. And when you look at the taxes paid by one company versus another, the company that's paying more taxes is the loser. That's just the way it is. And so, in that regard, these guys are losers. 18% is super high, and then they turned around and said that we expect it to go to 21%, that's crazy. I do have this graphic pulled up because I do want to reiterate and also explain exactly who International Paper is. They are the number one provider for boxes. They are the number one provider for the cellulose fiber, which is the material that's used in what's called leak control. So we're talking about Pampers, we're talking about feminine products, things of that nature. They're number one in the U.S. They're number one in Russia. and of course they have a presence in Europe. Um, so, I mean, the idea that Amazon, right, which is the largest shipper, definitely a customer of International Paper, um, is shipping products out to customers on a daily basis. They go to International Paper and say, "Hey, we need boxes," and International Paper says, "We don't have any boxes." Can you imagine? Can you imagine? I talked in other earnings calls concerning the fourth quarter and what the holiday is going to look like. And I don't know. I can't try to predict. I'm not going to try to predict. We do know that savings are up, right? So people have money sitting in the bank. Um, and everyone keeps talking about this demand, this pent up demand. Everyone keeps talking about a labor shortage. International Paper mentioned that in their earnings call as well, saying that a lot of their customers who purchase boxes to ship products out want to ship out more products, but don't have the labor force available to do so. Hard to believe. Time will tell the truth. We'll see what happens because at some point, this will all get shaken out, and we'll see what's going on. But I just don't see the demand there. There's a lot of discussion concerning COVID and what the economy and everything was going to look like once we came out of COVID, and we saw it already. And I think that people are looking for more, but I'm not so sure there will be more. You know, we're back. I mean, the stadiums are full for sports games. Clubs are open, restaurants are open. There are some places in which there are tighter restrictions, but for most of the country and for many parts of the world, um, we're back. And so while we can see some upside to that, we can see some increases. I just don't know if it's going to be this big splash that I think people are expecting here, especially when you're talking about all these, like I said, supply constraints, fuel costs, labor costs. It really seems like an excuse to me, and it bothers me. The other thing that they mentioned, which is good, sort of, is that they're decreasing their debt on their balance sheet, so that's good. They're bringing down their debt. They also talked about having their pension completely funded, which is always an issue. International Paper has been around for a very long time, and so their employees still have pensions. Um, Pensions are cool. I like pensions, honestly, from a social standpoint. But as an investor, as a stockholder, um, if pensions went away tomorrow, that would make me very happy because it's always a huge liability um, that is always looming overhead. And, all it takes is for the company to say, oh, well, we have to borrow money to pay our pension or to shore up our pension fund. Never a good thing. Um, what else? That was pretty much it. Again, they talked about the trucking and the trains and the ships being held up. Um, they did finally get rid of their printing paper business. And so now, as you can see by this graphic, 87% of their business is now industrial packaging. And so that basically means Amazon boxes, amongst other things. And then 13% is going to be your Pampers and your family products. So I think that's a really good thing. Paper is definitely a business that's going out. Um, they still own 20% of that paper printing business, um, which can be a good thing, but then I'm not sure exactly what the agreement is on what costs and expenses they'll be responsible for that 20%. So that's something that I may want to look further into, especially if I'm evaluating the company. Um, but not a bad deal. And then I think I want to mention too that the Russia um, deal that they have is a 50-50 joint venture. So they get 50% from that. And that's really about it. There's really not much more to say other than, you know, if we see holiday sales pick up, that means that Amazon is definitely going to be shipping more packages. But that also means that if International Paper cannot keep up with those orders, we can see this stock price slide further than it already has. The other thing that they mentioned is that I can imagine, right? Again, I'm not there. I'm not on the inside, so I don't know. But I can imagine that Amazon is probably their number one customer, and so they're probably going to take all of Amazon's orders if they can. And what they're doing is they're turning away some of the smaller companies and smaller companies. Um, the worry is that those companies that they're turning away, those customers that they're turning away, won't come back. Now, like I said, International Paper is number one. There's no question about that. But when you're turning away business, um, that's business that is possibly lost forever. Of course, the executives during the earnings call were confident that those same customers or companies will be back and they will return. But who knows, right? So not a great quarter, not a great outlook. They're not seeing any change to any of the issues currently. As far as they are concerned, the way things are right now is how they will remain for the foreseeable future. And so if they don't figure out some sort of management strategy to get the fuel cost under control, figure out transportation and shipping, um, this business is going to lose a lot of business. So that's it. International Paper.